this is. And I'm really delighted to be able to bring it to the Bay Area to share the magnificence of it with the audiences here. We are in the West after all, and it's making its California debut in Oakland. So let's get right into this. You are Layon Gray. You are the writer, you are the director, you are the lead character in this 5-character play called CowBoy.
Yeah.
So, what was your inspiration for this story?
Oh, that's a very good question. I'd always been interested in Westerns and just the story of cowboys in itself. You know, growing up in Louisiana, the only Western that I could say that I ever saw was, if you can call it a Western, was Blazing Saddles. You know,
You
with
could you could definitely call that a Western.
yeah. And I saw the black actor on it, and I was like, wow, that was amazing, you
Yeah,
know.
the
And
late Cleavon Littles.
yes, exactly, exactly. And I'd never ever seen another black in a cowboy. I know they did a movie called Posse in the early 90s
Right,
that kind of touched black cowboys, but
right,
nothing about Bass Reeves.
right,
So
right.
doing the research on him, you know, that's when I discovered all his incredible story.
Well, what led you to research to look into Bass Reeves?
It's always interesting how I discover stories.
Oh,
I
okay.
always stumble upon things, and in the process of researching something else, and it always happens, I get this information on Black history, and I was like, wow, this would be something good to talk about at a later date, to tell
Right.
this at a later date. And then we got invited to the National Black Theater Festival. This was 2017 or 2018, one of those years. And I say, well, this would be a perfect opportunity to tell that story at the festival for the very first time. So that's what caused me to really, really dig in and start writing, researching about Bass Reeve in itself.
So is this an actual story that happened in the Bass Reeves life, or is this an invention of your imagination?
It's interesting because when I was reading and doing some research on him, I read a couple books, and there in the play there are some actual facts that happen. Like one time he caught a criminal by disguising himself as a hobo. So I decided to implement that in the play. But the whole story in itself is a fictional piece that I use for one of his journeys as as he goes out to search for a wanted criminal.
So that's awesome. Um, People make a lot of conjecture, if you will, that Bass Reeves was the inspiration for the TV character Lone Ranger. And his Creek companion, who you feature in the play Cowboy, I imagine would be the Tonto. Uh, um, so, what was special about being a U.S. deputy marshal in the regrettably named Indian Territory in Oklahoma? What did he have to do?
Well, it was incredible, especially for a black man in that era, in that time, because then, what is present day Oklahoma now was the Wild. No one would never go up in there because there were no laws. Criminals would go and hide out there. They would leave, the states and just hang out there. And white deputies were afraid to go there because they knew if they go, they wasn't coming back. So that's when the sheriff at the time, he knew of this Bass Reeves, and he was like, okay, I want to make this guy a deputy and have him go up in there. And he was like, yeah, no problem, because he grew up with the Native Americans. So he understood the language, he understood where people would hide out, he understood the whole land, and a lot of the white marshals didn't know about that. So he was hired to go in there, and he cleaned it up. They said the lady, what was her name? Belle Star, that's her name?
Yeah, there was a Bell Star back in the
Yeah.
day.
They say she was wanted, and when she found out that Bass Reeves had a warrant for her arrest, she turned herself in because she knew he was no nonsense. If you come, if you don't come, he'll let you have it. So she turned
All
herself in
right.
because she knew
Oh,
he was on her tail.
outstanding.
And that happened with a lot of outlaws at that time when they found out that they called it a writ, right? It's a warrant, but
Uh-huh.
a writ. When they found out that Bass Reeves had the writ for their arrest, a lot of them said,
It's like,
okay,
here, take
it's
me.
it's only a matter of time before he find me. And that's because he knew the land so well. And you mentioned it's the correlation is kind of similar with the Lone Ranger and Bass
Mhm,
Reeves
mhm.
story. Whereas Bass rode a big white horse, the Lone Ranger rode a white horse. Bass had a native companion that rode with him all the time. The
Right.
Ranger had one. Bass gave out silver dollars to people, to get information. Lone Ranger gave out silver. So there's an incredible similarity to both stories.
Let's talk about this word, cowboy,
Mm,
and how it came to be and what it really means.
mm. I don't
Since
know if
you
we want to give
decided
that away of the play.
say what?
I said, I don't know if we want to give the story of it within the play. It's, but it's,
Uh, so coming to the play will
yes,
allow you to experience for yourself how the word cowboy came to be.
exactly.
Wonderful.
A lot
So
of
show
people,
it.
yeah, a lot of people ask me, well, why did you call the play Cowboy? I said, well, you got
Mhm.
to come and see it. You got to come and experience that storytelling of
And then you will
how that
know.
word became that word. And it's not what people really think it
Mhm.
is.
Mhm.
You have a lot of white folks say, "Oh, I'm a cowboy."
Mhm.
He's
Yeah.
a cowboy, or it's a bad thing, not
Mhm.
understanding the true
The
nature
true
of
etymology of the word.
exactly
Yes.
because and I'll give just a little bit. Blacks and slaves, they used to take care of the cows
Right.
and the cattles.
Mhm.
So again, not giving too much away,
Okay.
but
I
but
don't
the
mind a little tease. You could
just a
stop
little
right there. They could come and see the rest. Just I know that cattle herding was a big business post slavery.
yes,
For people that were going west, it was that's where the cows were and the meat was, and
yes,
so uh, getting those cattle back to the east was a major job. And
yeah,
once again, who steps up? We do.
exactly, exactly.
So
And
what has this is one of the most well-received plays in history that I've ever seen. It's been awarded every place it's played. People have loved it. They walk out smiling and happy and ready to come sit down and see it again. I know I was. Wasn't ready. I was ready to go have a glass of water and come back and say, raise the curtain. Let's do it again.
yes.
What has the audience response to Cowboy taught you as a writer, as an actor, as a director? What are the lessons of Cowboy for you?
You know, just being a Black American, just learning the history of where our people came from, and not just Black Americans, the Native Americans who were also pushed away from their land.
Mhm.
Just understanding their plight, because a lot of people don't know once slavery ended, a lot of Black folk went west, and they was like, okay, well, what are we gonna do? Because the play
Mhm.
starts 23 years after slavery.
Right.
So it's like, okay, I'm free, but
Hmm.
what should I do? Where
Yeah.
should I go? I have this skill. How can I use this skill?
Right.
So it's taught me where my ancestors and where the African Americans at that time who were enslaved didn't let anything stop them from succeeding and going on and making a way in this world, in this new big world that they know nothing about. Because remember,
That's
they were all on one plantation, and now you got this big old world. One of
yeah.
the characters talk about how he went to New York and saw this big, he called this big white woman standing with a torch in her head, and they say they call her a Liberty or something. So
Right. Right.
seeing all of this for the
Yeah.
first time for them
Yeah.
was eye-opening, which I think is what led one or two of them astray within the play.
Well, one of the things that I love about this play is that it offers the opportunity for that history to be told in a way
Mhm,
that's vastly entertaining and moving emotionally and quite dramatic. Everything that goes on in the play, but
mhm,
you as a writer, you keep your facts straight, you keep your history um, in focus,
mhm,
if you will. And so I will go see a Layon Gray play about pretty much anything because I
mhm,
know you will have done your homework. And by the time you finish with it and ready to turn it over to the actors and the audience, okay, I can come in here and have a whole experience and know that it's going to be an authentic thing. And that's why I wanted, as a producer, to step in and keep that story going because
mhm.
representation is so very, very, very important.
Yes.
I've extended invitations to every school district in the Bay Area because if there was ever anything worthy of a field trip, it is
Mhm.
CowBoy. And
Yes,
I
yes.
am delighted to be able to bring it. We can expanding horizons in your mind about what is possible and learning about what's been done. I'm glad that you saw Cleavon Littles in Blazing Saddles and it
Mhm.
sparked your imagination to want to do something else. You see, this is our poster.
I see it. I love it. I
Yeah,
keep
I love
staring at it. I need that for my wall.
it. I got one I'm holding for you.
All right, all right.
Well, I want to thank you for coming and talking to me about this. Um, you can I want to invite the people who are watching this on social media. You can go to spiritandimage.org for your ticket, and Layon Gray and I will see you in the theater. Is there anything else that you want to say to this audience before we stop this?
Just come put your seatbelts on because this play is a ride. Just when you think you figured it out, something else is going to hit you. There's a lot of twists and turns. We call it edutainment within this place. So get your tickets. Make sure you come and experience CowBoy because it's truly, truly a masterwork what the actors do on stage.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So we'll see you in the theater.
Thank you.
Okay, I have